welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Let's get right to it. So, usually there are things that happen in sports, football, basketball, that turn the momentum in one way, or they can turn it another way. Okay. So the Philadelphia 76ers fight at the end of game 2 of the 1977 NBA Finals, when Daryl Dawkins pulled down Bobby Gross, and Daryl Dawkins took a swing at Bobby Gross. Maurice Lucas came up from behind, decked Daryl Dawkins on the back of the head, and all of a sudden, Maurice Lucas is like this. Maurice Lucas was ready. Maurice Lucas was ready. He was ready. He was ready to take Daryl Dawkins out. And I remember Brent Musburger recalling that. Brent Musburger said Maurice Lucas stood up to Daryl Dawkins. And Daryl Dawkins wanted no part of Maurice Lucas. Okay. Which I'm going to get to in another video soon. But that fight changed the momentum of the series. Portland won the next 4 straight to win the title. Okay. So, and certain things happen that can lead to trades of certain players. Okay. Take the 91 Sonics for example. Okay. There was a fight that took place between Xavier McDaniel and Dale Ellis during practice one day. And it was a ugly fight between Ellis and McDaniel. And within days, Xavier McDaniel is in Phoenix and Dale Ellis is in Milwaukee. Okay. So fast forward to game 2 of the 1994 Western Conference first round series between the Nuggets and Sonics. Okay. The man Dale Ellis was traded for Ricky Pierce, who had arrived in the Dale Ellis trade. Okay. Okay. It's been had been with the Sonics a few years, was a regular important part of their rotation. And so, the Sonics won game 1 pretty easily. Okay. 106-82 or something like that. Yeah. So game 2, the Nuggets played much better, but the Sonics were still 10 points better, 97-87 to take a 2-0 lead. Now, a lot of people will say different things changed the momentum of that series. Okay. Dikembe Mutombo said it was the fact that the Seattle Supersonics had already pre-planned their checkout time from their Denver hotel that turned the series in the Nuggets' favor. Some will say that it's the fact that Mutombo was consistently intimidating shots. Not only intimidating shots, but blocking shots as well. People will say that. People will say it was the play of Reggie Williams, LaFonso Ellis, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Bison Daly, at that time, Brian Williams. Okay? People will say it's the play of those people who that swung the series in the favor. But there was an incident that took place at game 2. There was an incident that took place during halftime of game 2 in the Sonics locker room that completely flipped the series in the Nuggets' favor. Okay. So, game 2 was going according to the schedule. Then Ricky Pierce and Gary Payton had a blow up in the locker room. Okay. Now Ricky Pierce says it was. Ricky Pierce says it was a disagreement on ball movement, who was getting the ball or whatnot. Gary Payton says it was more towards disrespect. He said Ricky Pierce was treating Gary Payton like a kid. That's what Gary Payton says. Okay. And Gary Payton talked about this in a interview that I saw. Gary Payton said a huge argument took place between Pierce and himself. He said Ricky Pierce was demanding of respect. And Gary Payton said, hey, I'm going to give you your respect, but you're not going to talk to me like a kid, okay? And so Gary Payton admits that he took it way too far, okay? Gary Payton admits he took it way too far. And so there was arguing, shouting, and reportedly Ricky Pierce and Gary Payton said they're both going to get guns and they're going to end up killing each other's families, okay? That was what was allegedly said in the locker room, okay? It got just that heated at halftime during game 2, okay? In the Sonics locker room. And so Gary Payton was hot. Then the veteran who had been there the longest, Nate McMillan, stepped in. The veteran, Nate McMillan, who had been there the longest since 1987, stepped in, calmed Payton down, and got me remember something. Gary Payton is from Oakland. Okay. Gary Payton's from Oakland. Okay. Gary Payton is cocky. Gary Payton is arrogant. Okay. So Gary Payton admits that he took it way too far. Okay. Nate McMillan stepped in. And Gary Payton recalls saying, if you want to take it that far, I can take it that far. Okay. And Gary Payton says, if he would have made that call to take it that far, okay, if Gary Payton would have made the call to take it that far, there were some people Gary Payton would have called, and they would have had people do something to Pierce, okay? It just got that heated and that close, okay? It just got that heated in the Sonics locker room, okay? Now, let me just say God must have been in that locker room because Nate McMillan stepped in at the perfect time. Nate McMillan stepped in at the perfect time and calmed Payton down. He calmed Payton down, and Payton was talking to himself saying, do I really want to lose all of this for some tough guy thing? Okay. And Gary Payton said it wasn't worth it. And then after Nate McMillan stepped in, Gary Payton let it go. Okay. Gary Payton said he let it go. And so the repercussions of that fight was not good. Okay. Team chemistry was damaged. Ricky Pierce, who had averaged 20 minutes and 12.5 points through the first 2 games of the series, averaged only 11 minutes and 5 points per game through the last 2 games. And George Karl benched Ricky Pierce for game 5. Okay. He benched Ricky Pierce, and Ricky Pierce basically called George Karl a coward. Okay. Because he benched Ricky Pierce, and he never said a word to Ricky Pierce about benching him. So he called George Karl a coward. Okay. Didn't say one word to him. Of course, happened at halftime in game 2. Payton, Pierce were threatening to bring out guns and kill each other's families. George Karl agreed with Gary Payton because Ricky Pierce really didn't see a floor for the rest of the series, benching game 5. Okay, and so this was before the Washington Wizards locker room situation with Gilbert Arenas. Okay, so but no guns were actually in the locker room. They were just talking about bringing guns. Okay, but so this was the Washington Wizards locker room situation before the Washington Wizards locker room situation. Okay, where guns were actually bought into the locker room. Okay, and the repercussions of that, Gilbert Arenas got in trouble. A few other players got in trouble. And if you remember, Javaris Crittenton went to jail for murder, if I'm not mistaken. Javaris Crittenton went into jail. Okay. So, and Gary Payton also said in the interview, Gary Payton said, if David Stern had found out something like, well, if David Stern probably knew about that, probably, because David Stern knows everything, that's his job to know everything that's going on around the league. So, but everybody knew David Stern ruled the NBA with an iron fist. Okay, Stern did not play one bit, and so I'm just glad that God stepped in to that situation. I'm just glad that Nate McMillan stepped into this situation. The level-headed veteran. Okay? But the damage was done. And Nuggets upset the Sonics in the first round, so it's just unfortunate of what became of that situation. Sonics being the first 1 seed to lose to an 8 seed. And just as the fight between Ellis and McDaniel resulted in trades, the fight between Pierce and Payton resulted in Pierce being traded to the Golden State Warriors for Serenus Marcellonis. Yeah. So, all right. That's it and that's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I'm Sean Farrell. Peace out. Out of here. God bless.